to the JonnyDel Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game by talking through and dissecting game film and diving deeper to explain why the X's zig and the O's zag. I am Adam Marino, joined by Mr. JonnyDel, and we are reminding you, as always, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube, where we go live. There you can comment into the live show. Be sure to hit the notification bell and turn on your notifications so you can be a part of the conversation. We also stream live on Facebook and X. Also, the audio versions are always found on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, if you are live with us in the chat, it's probably because you are subscribed, you've hit the notification bell, and turned those notifications on. So, when sharing with your friends, be sure to let them know. We also love to hear from you outside of our live show. Email us at JonnyDel's@gmail.com, and you can always check out the website jfa49.com, as it is the most fun way to support the channel. Also, the way we boost the chat and boost the algorithm is to type out hashtag JD49. Welcome into a Friday. I love my man Wayne Breezie because he always brings the energy, and that automatically boosts my energy. Like, I just feel it. So if you are feeling the chat, and as you are putting in the hashtag JD49, let's also put in hashtag WB for Mr. Wayne Breezie. We got a lot to get into. First of all, Wayne, let us know real quick. Are you simulcast right now? I forgot to ask you. I want to bring all the followers in, make sure everyone knows what's going on. Are you simulcast right now? Where are you at?
It should be on the YouTube right now. I believe it is simulcasting. I don't have it pulled up, but I believe it's up there. And I just want to state this before you guys take back over your show. There will be zero Celtics slander in the chat. Okay? We the 2 seed, and we gonna get it in. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
Now, to follow Wayne, if you are one of those very odd people that do not know about Wayne Breezie, Johnny, let them know in the chat where you can find Wayne Breezie, one of the best follows in social media for all things Niners, not all things Warriors. As we know, he is not faithful to the Bay in that regard. We will not talk about that. We are still feeling good from Chef Curry from a couple of nights ago. They do play tonight. Very excited for that, but we are excited to get into some centers and safeties, talk to Wayne about what he's excited about for the draft. Let's start there, Wayne. Before we, church is going to be in session. Johnny is going to bring us to church and have the film session. That's when the chat goes quiet because everyone is just watching. Before we get into that, we haven't seen you for a while, so let's break down a little bit what you're excited for about the draft, and maybe position-wise, where you see the Niners going with our first few picks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited. It's another draft. Just being with Johnny at the Senior Bowl, getting a first look at some of the prospects, which we know the 49ers heavily hold into weight when it comes to the draft prospect. It's these bowl games, especially those Senior Bowl, the All-Star games, as well as the big bowl games in college football. That's where they get their players. And I'm very excited. Trading that third-round pick kind of threw me off a little bit, even though I think Osa Odighizuwa is going to be a good piece for the 49ers. But it just takes away one of their picks in a draft where I feel like the values between rounds 3 through 5, right? I feel like there's tons of talent in those particular 3 rounds. So 3, 4, 5, it's going to be tough. But I think the Niners will get it done. And, they did their due diligence this offseason, man. We got to stop crying over spilled milk. We asked them to address the offensive line. They did. So what? It's not with the player we wanted, but they got offensive line kind of like signed, sealed, and delivered, which means they go into the draft not looking for an offensive lineman early. They did that at every position. So it's going to be interesting to see what they go with the first pick. Right now, it's kind of screaming edge wide receiver, and I think they go wide receiver here. I'm going to be honest. I think the edge depth is a little bit deeper. And I think for
Johnny
the edge,
agrees. Johnny agrees, man.
And I think for the edge
We talked about it.
position, you can go speed, and so there's specific guys you can go out there and fit. And Johnny watches all the films. So what I do is I watch Johnny watching the film, and then I get my takes. That's what I
Love
do.
it.
I don't have time to watch the film. That's ridiculous.
So I'll bounce this off you, Wayne, because people on my channel have heard me say this, I think 3 or 4 times now. I feel like the way that the 49ers, the draft strategy, I've been very confident about this, and if I'm wrong, I'm gonna have to eat crow on this. But I feel like it's gonna be wide receiver at 27, and it's gonna be guard in round 2. And the reason why I've been saying these things is people talk about offensive lineman, offensive tackle, guard, safety in round 1, and I just don't think that fits the 49ers' draft history. What they tend to draft are premier pay positions. The only time they didn't go defensive tackle, defensive edge, wide receiver, quarterback, those are the highest paid positions, right? Because if you look at who are the highest paid non-quarterbacks, it's wide receivers and edge players. You got like Micah Parsons making $46.5 million. You got Jackson Smith and Jigba making over $41 million a year. And you got quarterbacks making all that. So they have the trade for Trey Lance. They get him. They drafted Brandon Ayuk, Ricky Pearsall. Early on, they went Solomon Thomas, who was edge, who could rush inside is what they wanted. They had offensive tackle in Mike McGlinchey, another premium pay position. You have Nick Bosa, premium pay position. Michael Williams, premium pay position. Javon Kinlaw, premium pay position, because they let DeForest Buckner, they traded him because they didn't want to pay him at the time what was about 14 to 15% of the cap. They don't like paying over 13, 14% of the cap for non-quarterbacks, right? And one of the problems that they had with Jimmy G was that they were paying him near the top of the league, that when he signed, he was the highest paid player. But then in 2020, he only played 6 games, and they were looking at, and the year before, they had traded away DeForest Buckner because they paid Jimmy G. And so they were looking at, we could trade that away. We draft Javon Kinlaw, get that position on a rookie contract. So all that to say, they don't draft guard. They don't draft safety. They don't draft these positions that are lesser paid, running back, that aren't near the percentage of the cap in that first round, because they use their first rounds as total cap management, not just roster construction of getting good players. They use that cap management. That's how you have the highest paid running back, the highest paid tight end, the highest paid linebacker. Those are non-premium paid positions. They can make those guys the highest paid players if they don't have the highest paid players at other spots that are premium pay positions, right? So I think it's going to be one of those premium pay positions at 27, is they want to get that, and they love their 5th-year options. So I think that's the case. Now, John Lynch has also said they want to get a starting guard. They want to come out of the draft with a starting guard. So that's where I think round 2 is where you're going to be looking at guards. And so we looked, was it last week, at a bunch of guards. We looked at like Keelan Rutledge, Jennings Dunker, Bo Stevens, Chase Bisontis, and there was one other guy I had in there. I want to say, or it may have been all the guys I'm trying to, they're all running together. But I feel like that's how they're going to go, because you can get a guy like Ndame Tucker, Vincent Anthony, maybe Danny Dennis Sutton. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be there in the 4th. They may have to trade up somehow or trade a player to get Danny. I feel like those are guys that are going to be there in the 4th that they can address speed rusher with, because they're looking for a specialist, right? If you're going to go get a guy at 27, you don't get a guy who's going to be a 3rd down specialist. You already have Nick Bosa. You already have Micah Williams. You already have Osa Odigizua. You already have Alfred Collins, who you invested a 2nd-round pick in. On 1st and 2nd down, where is a 1st-round pick slotting in there? I don't see him getting on the field at edge. They're going to be they need to replace Bryce Huff as a specialist pass rusher. You're not going to spend 27 on that, on a guy who's going to only get 15 snaps a game. So that, to me, I think they go speed rusher late. And then I think these positions that we're looking at, they need a force safety, and they need to look at Jake Brendel's replacement. Jake Brendel's 34 right now. He's going to be 35 coming up soon. He's not under contract next year. They want a redshirt a center. They don't like rookie centers. So I think this is the year. If you're going to go get a center, it's going to be somebody in this 4th round. What do you think about that, Wayne? Am I off my rocker, or do you think how do you feel I'm zeroing in on the 49ers draft strategy?
Nah, I actually like the strategy, because it sounds like the Niners draft strategy. And if you look at that, I've been speaking about premium positions all the time, because those are the positions that are going to get paid the most money when it comes to the cap. wide receiver, the Niners have proven that they're willing to pay wide receivers depending on what they are able to do. Deebo Samuel was the first one to get paid under this regime, and then Brandon Ayuk got his money. And so I think that's the
With
route
a
they
lot
go.
of consternation, though.
Of course.
That was the thing, is that
Of-
they
But
didn't
still
want
got
to
it.
pay him 30. They didn't want to pay him
No.
32.
But
They
they'll
didn't
still
want to
pay
go
him.
above 10% of the cap.
No, they didn't, but they at that time they were able to. So let me just make that make sense because of Brock Purdy's contract, and then they were able to pay these guys. I think they're trying to reset that wide receiver position. They don't know what they're going to get in Ricky Pearsall come down the line, and when it comes time to pay him, they might be able to walk away. They'll get another wide receiver, and I think that's why they go wide receiver at 27. The question is who, what type. That's the question. And they did their due diligence this offseason in bringing in Mike Evans and bringing in Christian Kirk. And then they got guys that they got future contracts with. And then you got guys returning. We want to see what we're going to get out of Jacob Cowing, Jordan Watkins. Will he make this roster if they draft another wide receiver in this particular draft? Junior Bergen, he's just a specialist, but does he improve in the offseason to get wide receiver reps? Doubt it. But we don't know. They wasted the 7th-round draft pick on a specialist. This is going to be interesting. I think your theory is spot on. The Niners, they're going wide receiver at 27. It's a no-brainer. You get the 5th-year option because if you look at that 5th-year option for that position, I'd rather pay a guy $14-15 million a year opposed to $30 million a year. And I think that's where the Niners would actually exercise that 5th-year option. Sounds like it's going to be on that position. You talked about the edge. Do I want an edge at 27? I wouldn't mind, but you're asking to get a specialist at 27. You're not getting the top 5 edge rushers in the draft. No one's falling that deep, so you're actually going specialist. And I think there's going to be guys that's going to fall. I think Derek Moore may fall a little bit, didn't test, right? And so we'll see what happens. That could be a power to speed ratio type of guy that may be there in the 4th round. I doubt it, but there's going to be some 4th round guys that the Niners can get. Like you talked about the old man. I call him Old Man Tucker because he's a little old, but I'm okay with the 25-year-old players because they grown men and they're going to come in and do damage. And it's a 4th round pick. It's fine with me. So I'm excited again to see what these Niners do in this draft. I think that theory is spot on, Johnny. And I can't wait to see who's going to be called at pick 27. Guard, though, you got me scratching my head. I think they go best offensive lineman. I'm not sure if it's going to be a guard. You did mention Pregnon, which was interesting because if we go guard, it's just got to be a mean mother trucker, bro. I could care less about speed, this, that, and the third. I mean, the 10-yard split matters to me, but I need mean. And you mentioned all mean guys. I want to put that out there. Every guy that you, except for Bo Stevens, he's not a mean guy. He's a good guy. He's a great guy.
So I will say,
I don't think he's mean.
We watched the film. We watched the film last week. He was putting guys on the ground.
It's a difference between he's a mauler, but he's not mean. I want a mean mauler. Let me be specific.
Not Joe Green.
No, I mean,
you
go
want,
back
you
to
want a Jennings Dunker. You want Keelan Rutledge.
Those football
guys
guys
are mean. Those guys are mean. We watched their film. They're putting guys on the ground all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Finishing blocks.
Bo is technically sound to play the position for the 49ers. He's the guy. Right? He'll be a great prospect for the Niners, I think. Bo Stevens.
So I do want to address this. Joel Martinez. I've seen this a lot. I've seen this on X. I've seen this on the YouTube side. They say, I hope they don't get a wide receiver 27. He'll never see the field. I know that's just not, that's a fallacy that's out there because of narratives that we form and people kind of hold on to these things. Okay. Why do we hold on to that? Because Jordan Watkins didn't see the field. Remember, Jordan Watkins was also a 5th round pick. Jacob Cowing didn't see the field. Well, Jacob Cowing was also a mid-round pick. Who have the 49ers picked high? And remember, Brandon Ayuk was like in the doghouse his rookie year, but Brandon Ayuk still started 11 games and had over 750 receiving yards. Deebo Samuel in his rookie year started 11 games, 12 games, something like that. And remember, he was going into camp not as a starter, even as a 2nd round pick. They had Dante Pettis, who they really liked, and Pierre Garçon was still on the team. And Pierre Garçon had the neck injury. They put him on IR. Dante Pettis was then out there, and that's why Deebo Samuel came in the starting role. But he started 11 or 12 games and had over 800 receiving yards as a rookie. Ricky Pearsall, after he got back from being shot, not because he couldn't, make the field because of performance, He's played in every game and
Right away.
significant
Yeah.
snaps in every game.
Yeah.
So when the 49ers have spent an early round pick on a wide receiver, they see the field. They get significant snaps. It's not a situation where if they're a rookie and they don't play him. No, if they invest an early round pick, that means Shanahan has bought into that receiver. They don't have to prove themselves to him as much. If it's Jordan Watkins who's in the 5th round, that's a position coach kind of pick. He has to prove himself in training camp. Watkins got hurt in training camp and didn't prove it. And so Shanahan was not going to trust him. That's how it works in the Shanahan and kind of building. So if it's going to be a 1st round pick, this is going to be a guy that Shanahan believes in, and he will put him on the field early.
So let me ask you guys this, and Wayne as well, and then we'll get to Cayman's Island has a super chat that I want to get to. So to push back on what you're saying, Johnny, Wayne, do you agree that then it would be Evans, Pearsall, and this pick? And then what about Cowing and Christian Kirk and those guys just get moved down the line, and whoever we draft at number 27 would be the 3rd guy? Question mark.
It's a great question. And no, it's Christian Kirk, it's Evans, it's Pearsall, right? Those are your 3 in that type of 11 personnel. You bring 3 wide receivers out. So people are like, well, then why waste a pick at 27 on a wide receiver?
That's what Joel is saying. That's what Joel Martinez is saying.
Because you're looking to get the best talent available in this draft at wide receiver. Evans is essentially on a 1-year deal. Christian Kirk, 1-year deal. Ricky Pearsall, still rookie contract. And so you're looking to continue to reset that wide receiver market. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna not overpay Mike Evans, but we're gonna put his money up front. Hey man, go out there, bust out, make all your money, incentives, blah 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 blah, and then we could essentially walk away if things don't work out. You can walk. It's kind of set up for that way. Christian Kirk is just insurance policy, in my opinion. But those are the veterans. Those are the guys that I think Kyle Shanahan is hand selecting that he's going to trust out there. We still don't know what Ricky Pearsall is going to do as far as injury status. So yeah, this pick would be that insurance policy. Hey, you need to get out there. Need you to get out there. And when Johnny hit the nail on the head. When Kyle picks these wide receivers early, they see the field.
There's a reason for it. Yeah, like there's something that
First of all, let's keep it a buck. Kyle's a wide receiver guy. I wonder why. I mean, played the position. Wasn't great. He played the position, right? Yeah. So there's certain things, and I think that those wide receivers, the ones that Kyle likes and covets are the ones we need to really pay attention to. I know we like these guys that are super fast. I did a show with my boy Mike from Nothing But Niners the other day. It was our all offensive mock draft, and I don't think we ever talked about this theory, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners don't go for that 4-3 guy in the first. They never do. They don't go for the speed. They go for the best skilled wide receiver in the 1st or 2nd round. Debo, 4-4 guy, 4.47 to be exact. Brandon Ayuk was 4.5. Ricky Pearsall was 4.41. That's the fastest receiver Kyle Shanahan has ever drafted. I wouldn't be surprised. I know we like Chris Brausel the second, but he can win at the top, but can he really run routes? Look for those guys that are those route runners, those difference makers, good blockers, right? We're missing out on some guys. There's going to be tons of. I know it's not a wide receiver episode, but I think that's just the pick, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a wide receiver. That's how I'm leaving it.
The way what I've noticed about Shanahan is he picks guys who have good long speed, meaning when they're at the top of their speed, that 20 to 40 yard speed is really good. Why? Because it's not the deep route down the sideline. Everybody thinks long speed is about, the go route. It's not. It's those high crossers. It's those post routes. It's those through routes, deep through routes, because those are the ones that we hit. It's those big dig routes. Kyle calls it a Dover or deep over. It's those kind of routes because by the time the receiver's getting the ball, he's running 35 yards. It may only be a 20-yard throw, but because of the way he's traveling across the field, it's a long throw. That's my issue with Denzel Boston, actually, is because his long speed, you see corners start catching up to him after 30 yards. And so he'll get that initial separation, and I think that really comes into play on those high crossers that the 49ers love to run, and Shanahan loves to run, is corners will catch up to him at the catch point on those. That's why I like Omar Cooper. I like Casey Concepcion more for that because of that long speed that gets there. And then the ability, that long speed to hit the home run. When you get through that seam, you can beat the safety to the edge and you can make get a home run from that wide receiver. Yeah, we haven't talked in a while, Wayne, so it's hard because we want to get into
We're all over.
all of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because I think the other part is people say, well, yes, that's your initial three, you know, Evans, Kirk, and Pearsall. But here, Pearsall has had injury issues since he got to the 49ers, shoulder injury in OTAs. He's had the hamstring injury in OTAs. He had the knee issue last year. That he's been banged up, hasn't been on the field all the time. Mike Evans is also at a point where you're seeing decreasing snap counts through his age. Last year, he was his lowest. He had some injury problems, but even the year before, he was at 72% of the snaps. So people will think about this like your receivers play every single snap. If Mike Evans is out for 28% of his snaps, is not on the field, or 30% of his snaps, who's going to fit that role when he's off the field? That would make sense for a rookie X wide receiver. Okay, now if you pull him out, and sometimes Ricky Pearsall is going to need a blow, you can move Mike Evans over into the Z, and you can have your rookie over there playing that X if you get that kind of X guy, or if you have a KC. Then you can plug him in at Z as well. Yeah, I think he can run the whole route tree. Same with Omar Cooper. There's a way to get a rookie guy 50 to 60% of the snaps, which is significant playing time. So I don't see this as just a, you know, well, they don't have room on this. Receivers, look, these guys are running 40 yards sprints half the time, and they want to get off the field. You know,
Thank you.
It's not like tackle where you say, well, I got a tackle, he's going to play every single snap. No, these guys are going to be in and out. They don't play every snap. You get a rotation in there, and there's plenty of room for a rookie. I think you can stash a Jordan Watkins on your practice squad. Who's going to be signing Jordan Watkins off your practice squad right now? You got no game film on him. Okay. So, like, if it comes down to its training camp, they say, well, what happens? Look, I'm going to take a first-round pick over Jordan Watkins. I like Jordan Watkins, but if we're talking about KC Concepcion versus Jordan Watkins, am I not drafting KC because I have Jordan Watkins? Absolutely not.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
That's a no-brainer there. Am I not drafting Omar Cooper because I have Jordan Watkins? No. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm going to keep that guy. If I sign him, guess what? If I draft him in the first round, KC or Omar Cooper, I might dangle Jacob Cowing out there, see if I can get a 6th-round pick for him. I don't have a 6th-round pick in this draft. What's the harm there? You know, he didn't see the field all last year. So there are options there. This isn't a situation where, oh, well, they have a full wide receiver room. You want the best wide receiver room possible. Mm-hmm. And so if we're going to sit there in 2021 and say, well, the 49ers need to draft Trey Lance because we got Jimmy G. If people had said, well, you can't draft Trey Lance or a quarterback because you got Jimmy G sitting there, everyone would say, well, no, we can still get better, right? So why are we settling in our wide receiver room? I like, we can get better, and it's fine. So, but with that, we'll keep moving on. I will address Cayman's Island here. Thank you for the super chat. We've been texting about this for a long time, and so Wayne, I'll throw this out at you. He keeps feeling like there's gonna be, like, his gut that the 49ers are gonna trade back. And I think it has to do with they only have 6 picks in this draft, and they like a lot of draft picks. I don't see them trading back in the first round at all. If they do, it's going to be 1 spot or 2 spots. They are not trading out of the first round. Remember, why did they trade up into the first round for Reuben Foster? At the time, Luke Kuechly was the highest paid linebacker in the NFL, and he was making over 13% of the cap. Again, that 13% is a big threshold for them. Linebackers were paid a higher percentage of the cap in 2017 than they are today. Fred Warner only makes, I think it's 11% of the cap. So if you look at Luke Kuechly, they traded up for Reuben Foster. And when John Lynch was asked why, because people said, surely with some of the concerns and stuff, especially with what happened at the combine that year, you could have got him in the second. They were going to be the second pick in the second round. And he said, well, because that 5th-year option is really valuable for us, right? So they're not trading away that 5th-year option. They would rather reach 13 spots for somebody that they have a premium pay position for in the first round because of that 5th-year option, then trade back 4 spots, get another 6th-round pick, and pick the same guy. Example, Ricky Pearsall. They reached up for him because they needed a wide receiver at a premium pay position because they were battling with Brandon Ayuk, and they knew if that was going to be one of either Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel was not going to be there next year, and they wanted the cap savings of that position at in the first round and the 5th-year option. That's what it was all about. So I don't see them trading back.
Yeah, that's the key.
I don't think they're going to do it. That 5th-year option is far too valuable. What do you think?
Far too valuable. Pick 27 is going to be drafted. Don't get it twisted. The Niners, John Lynch is still going to look to move around in the draft, just not at pick 27.
Right. I agree.
They need that fifth year option. It holds a lot of weight, right? Whether they use it or not, it's the weight of the fifth year option. And that's why we keep saying we think it's going to be that wide receiver, right? Like it's going to be that dynamic guy that can come in and make an impact year one, due to whatever amount of snaps that they play. And I did want to touch on that wide receiver position. I mean, the way our wide receivers are utilized, maybe just a little bit different. Like I'm not saying they overworked, but they do tweak a lot of hammies, right? Like especially those speedster guys. And I think we need more wide receivers, right? Because when we're down a guy that's valuable to the offense that will line up in a certain position that could be a matchup nightmare or whatever like that, it just changes the way Kyle Shanahan calls his offense. It's terrible. So I think you got to get that dynamic player at that position, whoever it may be. I do like Denzel Boston. I understand he might not be that.
Oh, I like him. We went over his film.
Oh, got you. He might not be the crossing route guy, but he's the Mike Evans guy. I feel like that may be somebody we're not talking about enough because of the Mike Evans signing.
He might be the best contested catch guy in this draft.
Hands down.
I mean, just wild. Like that's what we focused on the film.
Even if hands are up, he still gets it.
But to be fair, guys, we lost our best contested wide receiver to well, we didn't necessarily lose him. He's not signed yet.
Right.
Yeah,
that should tell everybody about the state of the wide receiver room.
Ooh.
He was our number one wide receiver last year.
Ooh.
And he is still not signed in free agency. And the year before. Like when we say get Brock some weapons, and people are like, well, I remember I went back and forth on Twitter with a beat reporter who shall not be named because we don't name him on this podcast. Well, Adam does. I don't. We all know who we're talking about. It's not the general counsel. It's the GC though. But because he was trying he was adamant to me that Brock had plenty of weapons in 2024 because he had Juwan Jennings and George Kittle. And we're talking specifically about beating man coverage. And I was like, Juwan Jennings, in no world is Juwan Jennings a top wide receiver on any team. He was like, he's fantastic. He's been fantastic this year. And I was like, I'm sorry, you're doing your thing, trying to downplay Brock because that's what he does.
If he's been fantastic, it was because of Brock.
And sitting there, I'm like, he was nearly 1,000-yard receiver, and nobody is touching his value at all near 1,000-yard receiver.
Proof is in the pudding.
Yeah,
that should tell you, like, get Brock some weapons, and we're gonna see this offense explode, and it's gonna be, and we're gonna see so many of these conversations disappear about Brock this or Brock that, and you're gonna see an offense because even with the stinking guy who was his number one receiver being unsigned right now in free agency, we went nearly a month without punting the ball. Nearly a month without punting. Come on.
It took Juwan Jennings a little bit of time to get going last year due to the injuries and stuff like that. And I don't want to downplay what he did, but his skill set. He's
not a separator.
Right.
He's a 4.7 guy who's not getting any faster, who's going to get older as the time goes. Nobody's paying him big money. He's a contested catch guy. He's a fantastic contested catch guy. Yeah. But just go back to the interception against the Panthers where he's running that big dig and there was an interception because there is, if that is Ricky Pearsall, if that is Casey Concepcion, if that is
the separation is there, bro.
Then JC Horn doesn't catch up at all.
Correct.
Like he made up 2.5 yards on Juwan Jennings because he just doesn't have that. Like that cannot be your wide receiver, and that's why the safeties are squatting on everything. Anyway,
but to be fair, he was a 7th round pick. He
overplayed his draft.
But there you go.
Yeah.
Outkicked his coverage.
We need to move on to safety.
We got to upgrade, right? You have to upgrade. No, you're right. Speaking of safeties, let's get to the safeties because to me, that's the weakest link.
This all
here we go.
I keep people saying McNeil Warren to the 49ers at 27. And look,
okay,
Kyle Hamilton's the highest paid safety right now, and he's being paid $27 million a year. Jackson Smith and Jigba is being paid $15 million a year more. So here's how the 49ers look at this. They're going to say, am I going to spend a 1st round pick on a position that's going to save me? Because at 27, they're going to get around 18.3 million guaranteed over the first 4 years. Okay, if or Kyle Hamilton, excuse me, is $25 million a year. Okay, they're going to say, am I going to save $80 million to $82 million over 4 years at a safety, or am I going to save $140 million over 4 years? And so safety is not going in the first round. I don't care if McNeil Warren is there, and I know how much people love him. I love him, but the 49ers, we're talking about what the 49ers realistically are going to do. They're never going to say we're going to eat $60 million in savings over 4 years, because they look at who can we sign for $15 million a year, or who can we keep for $15 million a year if we do this. And so that's why I think safeties are going to go in the 4th round. And so we're going to look at a couple guys that are probably going to be there in the 4th round and the roles. And so this is what's fascinating me. I have 2 guys here, VJ Payne, safety from Kansas State, and Bud Clark from TCU. And these are 2 very different safeties, both Senior Bowl guys. We know the 49ers love their Senior Bowl guys. 2 guys that would fit very different roles for the 49ers. This will be fascinating because it'll answer the question, how do they feel about Jair Brown and Marquise Siegel? I think Mustafa's safe. I think what they want to do is get him a better pass rush, let him be more targeted in his assignment. VJ Payne is more the Jason Pinnock role, where they can come in and play that big nickel, and so he's going to be a third safety, being a big nickel. Bud Clark is more your free safety, so this is going to be that other safety opposite Mustafa, and then that they would either move Marquise Siegel or maybe Hobbs or Jair Brown into that big nickel. Jason Pinnock was a disaster at big nickel. We were getting run on like crazy. Okay, so we're going to start out with VJ Payne here from wide receiver safety from Kansas State. And so I'll give you my scouting report on this guy, Wayne, and we'll see what you think. I might have to move us to the side here so we can see things a little bit better. See if I can get this just a tad bigger. All right, so here's my scouting report on VJ Payne. He's a big body, fast, big safety. I put big in there twice because this is a big dude. He's 6'3", 208 pounds, and he's got blazing speed for that size. He ran a 4.440 flat. I think it was 4.4 or 4.41. It was crazy fast, and his 10-yard split was absolutely elite. That short area burst jumps on film. Burst and acceleration are elite. Solid tackler who plays physical, and his large frame make it hard for receivers in the run game and tight ends in the passing game. Would be a great scheme fit as a third safety in big nickel to combat the rise in 12 and 13 personnel across the NFL, and specifically within our division. The Seahawks and Rams have gone a lot more 12 and 13 personnel. Would be an instant upgrade over Jason Pinnock in that role. Hips are too stiff to be a true free safety, and that limits his abilities to also be a strong safety, as being asked to play half field would expose him too often to two-way go lateral routes, meaning I don't want to see him playing cover 2 safety and having to cover in and out breaks from wide receivers coming at him. Don't want to see that. His hips are stiff, and that's why he's going to be there in the 4th round. In the right role in coaching, could be a solid addition and boost to the secondary. What do you think about that, Wayne? How's that match up with what you know about VJ Payne?
Yeah, I like this kid. I'm not gonna lie. I just feel like we have this kid, and so what you talked about, big nickel role. You talked about kind of coming in here and replacing a guy like Jason Pinnock. I feel like that's where Jair Brown, being him, the bigger body, not the same speed, that's different. But I think Jair Brown is either better in the run game when he knows that's what his role is going to be, or as a deep safety if he knows that's what his role is. That's the weirdest thing. It's like if you tell him to do multiple things, I think that's where he gets confused. He plays with his head down when it's time to make tackles. He's just not in the right spots when it's time to cover. But when he was under Steve Smith, okay, as a rookie, there was a lot of promise to Jair Brown.
Steve Wilkes?
Steve Wilkes, I'm sorry. Who the hell's the wide receiver? And I'm saying to myself, what happened other than the coaching change? And it must be the responsibilities and the roles that he was asked to do, Johnny and Adam. I'm trying to figure that out. I don't want to be over Jair Brown because he was a 3rd round pick. You still got another year with him. And so I think with the new defensive coordinator, with a new defensive backs coach, I think they get back to saying, hey, man, maybe we just try him at the big nickel. Let's go get a ball hawk. Let's go get a free safety. I can't remember the last time, though, the Niners had a free safety other than like Merton Hanks, and that's dating ourselves, right?
Man.
Right? Because when the last
That
time we
is dating
played with a
ourselves.
free safety, like a free safety?
Tony Parrish. Tony Parrish was
Okay, number
pretty good there.
33. I could go with Tony
Bronson.
Parrish.
Bronson. Zach Bronson.
Bronson,
Zach
number
Bronson,
31.
I think,
Eh,
was dude had like 6 picks in a year.
I'm not gonna lie, you're right. I'm
5.
just he's just not. He's just
Yeah, he's not as big. I mean,
but that's the last time.
It's from an era that we don't remember that as much.
Correct.
All right,
with
so
Tim
let's
Rattay.
look at.
But I like VJ Payne. I feel like, this kid has the tools and the talent. Now it's going to come down to what is his role going to be. And if he's role specified, like you just said, you can't put him in on this coverage. You can't put him in on this coverage because he's going to struggle. If we're built to have him role specified, he will fit fine.
Yeah,
I think you just need to get an instinctive player out there. I want to go.
We'll talk about him second because that's going to be Bud Clark from TCU.
You know it, baby.
Huge production. So, and this is where I find I'm giving these two because I think it's two very different kinds of safeties. These are not like you pick this guy so you can't pick that guy. These are two very different safeties, and I feel like it's two different roles, and I'm interested to see what role they try and fill. I think it's going to be one of these two guys. So here's VJ Payne. He's going to be at the top, and we're going to see a run. They're going to try and run front side. Running back's going to cut it backside. So we need to see his ability to fit versus the run backside, especially if you're going to be in this big nickel roll. Come up, make a solid tackle. There he is. Gets his head down in there, makes a solid tackle. One thing you see about him, here he is, number 7, is this guy. You rarely do running backs get yards after contact against him. This is that big body, 208 pounds, 6'3" safety. So here, one area where he shines is using that big body in coverage. So Kansas State's going to come with a blitz, and quarterback's going to say, well, I got a wide receiver that's going to be here on a go route against this safety. I'm putting that ball out there. But this is where that speed and that body and frame come into play. He's a boundary guy. They're running the old Haas play. My mouth stopped working for a second.
I love it.
What in the world? Okay. I hate it when that happens. It does that sometimes. It just disconnects his Bluetooth. So he's going to squeeze this route to the sideline. Look at how much taller he is than this wide receiver.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's that length. The quarterback's got a tiny window to try and fit this ball in there. By the time the ball arrives, he's got no window. This dude is so tall, so long. Quarterback's trying to err on the side of caution, and there's just no space along the sideline. Here you can see it from the end zone. They're matched up here. This is that long speed turn and run. Long speed, big frame. He's just covered it. There's no way. Okay, so here's the big nickel roll. So here he is. They're going to have a tight end that's going to come out here. He's got to maintain, contain on this, very much like the star role in Raheem Morris's defense. Jalen Ramsey used to play this. So now you're going to be facing more tight ends. You're going to still bring in that star role. Now you got to maintain, contain on these. So you got to have a big receiver or big safety who's going to be able to come in and play tight ends in the run game. So here he is, boom, matched up on a tight end. They're going to try and run this ball. You got to maintain your outside contain and make the tackle, and he gets in there. Okay, this is old school football. I love this. They're playing Arizona State. They're going to try and run a lead block. It's called an ISO block. So they're going to take this fullback in, lead block on the first defender that you see pops into the frame. When you're a linebacker, you're taught you meet this guy and you stuff him in the hole. Force and violence. I absolutely love it. Okay, here he is. He says a box safety. You're going to try, they're motioning this receiver across. They're going to try and get up on him with a wide receiver. This is what I mean. Wide receivers cannot block this guy. He doesn't even look like he's trying. And he works through the block and makes the tackle on this play. Here he is. They're going to motion this receiver in. He's going to come inside. They're going to try and get 11 on him as a blocker and just watch him. He just looks like he doesn't even have to try, and he gets right through that wide receiver's block. This is what I mean when I say big nickel kind of guy that is able to come in and play that role. Okay, so now we see him here as a deep safety. Can you make tackles in space? This is the biggest role for a safety, is when a running back gets you in lots of space in the open field, can you come up and make a tackle? Okay, this is what we call open field and open space. Can you make a tackle in this situation? Yes, he can. Okay, he takes a good angle, cuts the running back off. He knows that running back isn't beating him to the spot. So you're going to see him here another time matchup on a wide receiver. This is going to convert to man. They're going to try and run some traffic over this. He's got to work over the interference, pick the corner or the receiver up in man, and then watch how he plays this comeback route. He's all over it. He's all over it. Quarterback wants to go there. He's got nowhere to throw because it's a big body guy, so he just throws the ball away, and he knows it. VJ Payne knows he had that guy. Oh, love it. All right, so now we're going to see him again. He's here as a deep safety. They're going to run this ball. It's going to come out here. Running back's going to be in open space. Watch the physicality he meets this running back for the tackle. This is what I mean when I say no yards after contact. He gets in here, stands that dude up, no yards after contact. Physical safety. All right, this gives you shades. I'm not saying he is, but shades of Cam Chancellor, because they're going to bring this tight end. This is Triggs, who's going to be an NFL tight end. He's going to run down here. He's a deep half safety over here, right? They're going to try and hit the whole shot in here. Watch the closing speed and the violence along the sideline for this hit. This reminds you of Cam Chancellor on Vernon Davis, right? On the sideline, pain brings the pain. VJ Payne,
no pun intended. I like
pain.
That was a bad throw too, though. By the way, I won't put that out there.
Well, he's trying to look him off, and then he puts it in there, and bang! Oh, and you can see he goes from.
I'm just saying, I'm going to catch that ball regardless.
Celebrate.
That was tough. That was a good play, though. Good play. So now I'm sorry, I'm a Michael Trigg guy.
Yeah. So now Michael Trigg in this game made one of the best catches I've ever seen from a tight end. It was wild.
Just want to put this out there, though, that the 49ers did host a top 30 visit with Michael Trigg. So
there you go. There you go. I have him as my third tight end for the 49ers as far as fit.
Get out of here.
Like Sam Roush is number 1, Endries is number 2, and then Trigg at number 3. We're going to see him man coverage on Trigg here, okay? This is what I mean in that big nickel role, able to cover a tight end. That big body, you need a big body, big frame to cover tight ends in space. Look at him, lock him down, and watch this battle up here. Okay, they're going to be fighting for position. This is all about box out, and they can't do it. Why? Because he's 6'3", huge wingspan with 208 pounds. This is a matchup promise against tight ends. Okay, now we see him here. Big nickel roll kind of a thing. Fit the edge in the goal line. Make a tackle.
Oof, yeah.
Goal line, got to tackle high. Oh, love it. Okay, another example here. Against a tight end in man coverage. He's got to work through the traffic. And then look at this is what I mean. Tall on tall. Physical matchup versus this tight end. They try and fit the ball in here. This is incredible coverage.
That's a great coverage. That's great coverage.
Almost phenomenal, a phenomenal catch by the tight end. But because the window is so small, and because it's so there, no penalty, no catch. That is what you want covering your tight ends. Now, why is he going to be a 4th round pick? This is what I mean. Some of the stiff hips. Okay. He's going to try and get this guy. He stops his feet, covering a tight end, and he guesses. And when he stops his feet, he grabs. So this is what you'll see sometimes. Oh, he's going to get beat, so he's got to grab, and he causes the penalty. Okay, another issue is sometimes there's some missed tackles here. Now, I will say our safeties currently miss some tackles like this. This reminds you of Jair Brown. So it's not mean that they're out on him. But that is VJ Payne and what I think he can bring. Now, again, it's a very different role than, say, the next guy we're going to look at. But how do you feel about that, looking at some film from VJ Payne?
Again, I told you, I think he's a phenomenal prospect. If you got him in a specific role, great. Like, I think he'll be phenomenal. You saw him covering tight ends in the big nickel role. Like, he's a great prospect. He has the speed. He has the size. He has the physical attributes. Again, when things happen for the Niners and players go down and his role expands, do you believe as a 4th round pick, because that's where we're going to draft these particular types of players, will he be able to extend everything that he has? And I think that's what it comes down to. So I think my question is, though, can Jair Brown be coached to do some of this? What's the body type on Jair Brown? Aren't they like the same size?
Yeah, very similar body type to VJ Payne here. Bigger safety, longer guy. And that's what's fascinating to me is it's going to tell you If one of these two guys is drafted, it's going to tell you what they feel about Jair Brown. It's going to tell you how they maybe feel about Marquis Siegel. If they draft this guy, that to me says they really like where Marquis Siegel has his trajectory, and it's going to be Siegel and Mustafa. Jair Brown is the fourth man out. If you get a Bud Clark, I think that says that they don't believe as much in Marquis Siegel and they believe more in Jair Brown in that big nickel role. I think that's what happens here.
Yeah, listen. One of these two guys will be phenomenal in red and gold, and I still think, regardless of who they draft, they might be if they do draft Payne, they may be looking to move on from Jair Brown. Who knows? I don't think.
Well, they got to have 4 safeties. They want to go into the year with 4 safeties, and they only have 3 right now.
Yeah, but Siegel will still be here. I don't think you move on from Siegel. I think he adds value to special teams as well. So I think Siegel has the most range and speed. I'm not sure what Bud Clark ran in his 40, but
4.4 as well. Yeah,
right. So Siegel will still be your fastest guy, and you need that on special teams. So
Siegel's what I love about Siegel. Siegel, it was all about you needed to get more comfortable in coverage and communication. As far as I think it was Dieter Kurtenbach had talked about that.
Good point.
One of the reasons why they sat Siegel down was because they were after that they were already dealing with some communication issues on defense. And I had talked about that on film. I was talking about it throughout the year last year of like, you could clearly see there was communication problems. And Siegel was one of those, is because he just wasn't confident in communicating across. So they just wouldn't get certain coverages communicated across. Like it was supposed to be cover 4 and they're playing cover 2 on one side, cover 4 on the other, or, and so there were issues there. But as far as trigger against the run, speed, closing ability, violence, he was the best safety in that sense. Like
hands down.
The dude's acceleration is wild. He's a big
the best tackler
kind of
too, believe it or not. Like
so I really like Siegel as the ability because of his growth trajectory. He's got to take a big step. So we'll talk about another guy here that if they don't go with VJ Payne, that if they go with this guy, it'd be interesting. So I know you really like this guy. I really like this guy. This is Bud Clark, safety from TCU. Now this is a different body type. He's 6'1", 188 pounds. So he's 20 pounds lighter than VJ Payne, 2 inches shorter. This is much more your free safety kind of guy. Smaller free safety guy with incredible range, smooth hips, and fantastic closing speed. Incredible production at TCU with 15 career interceptions. Now, I didn't have his best games. His getting tape on TCU's defense was not an easy task, and Wayne knows that. Aggressive safety in coverage with a nose for the ball. That aggressiveness can get him burned, but the athletic ability down the field is elite. Would be best suited as a true deep safety to erase huge swaths of the middle of the field, and could also excel as a predominantly quarter safety. Smaller frame means he's not the guy you want in the box on a regular basis. Does that match up with what you've seen from Bud Clark in your scouting?
Nail on the head. The thing I do like about his small 188 soaking wet self is that he's still not afraid to make the tackle. He's not a bad tackler. He's
not a bad tackler. He just doesn't have that thump.
He's not going to last. Not in the NFL. Yeah, no, I agree with you. But
Bob Sanders.
But he plays with that edge. He plays with that grit. And most importantly, I think what sells me is not the fact that he just gets interceptions. It's his instincts. It's the last time we drafted a safety with instincts, it was Talanoa Hufanga. Yeah. And he wasn't the greatest. You can't even compare these two, right? And Talanoa Hufanga wasn't a ball hawk. Very different types. But instinctually, he understood football. And sometimes you just got to go with the guy with the instincts and that has the ability to know. There was clips that I was able to find of this kid that just knew where the quarterback was going to throw the ball. Like he just knew.
It speaks to his film study, but those kind of things have also what gets him burned sometimes.
For sure. It's a gamble.
Because he's guessing. Mm-hmm. And so, here we're going to see though where this coverage ability is elite. So they're playing cover 2 here in the red zone. This is to the wide side of the field. Now, remember in college, these hashes are wider than the NFL. So this is a huge amount of space. That hash in the NFL is more like here. So he's having to cover 3 to 4 yards, or I think it's about 3 yards more space to the wide side of the field than he would be in the NFL. And this is in the bowl game, Alamo Bowl against USC. They're going to try and hit him on a corner route. They're running a corner route on him. This is the matchup they want. wide receiver on a safety to the wide side of the field in cover 2. Watch his ability to flip his hips, pick up this wide receiver, go accelerate, and then go break up the pass. That is absolutely elite athleticism from a safety. Again, here he is, deep half safety. This is just incredible athleticism that you do not see very often.
PBU.
Man, he's an elite athlete. Okay. Now we're going to see him from the deep free safety. The quarterback's going to try and take off and run on this. Watch his closing speed to the quarterback. Now, again, this is not a slow quarterback. Look at him go. Look at him go. Quarterback's like, I got to stop.
Good angle, too. Oof.
I mean, good angle. That flag was not on him. They threw a flag for holding.
19 flags on the play.
Now, here's one. This is a play that won't end in the stat sheet, but they're trying to go after him, right? They're going to try and come with a play action run here and then run a double post. So they want to hit this double post. They're trying to get him to bite on this run action
and throw over the top.
And hit this receiver right around the U. That's where they want to hit this pass. Okay. But he's going to read this out. No jump on the run fake. And then look at him pick up the wide receiver. That's not his man. They're playing cover 1 man here, okay? So he's going to run with this. Quarterback wants to go there with the ball. It's taken away. He knows it's going to be a pick, so he's got to come backside, forces him into a bad throw, and he throws a pick because he's coming with the ball late on the route that he didn't want to go to, and that's a play that Bud Clark doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but he makes that play.
He didn't get the pick, but he forced one,
Yeah. And so that's what I love around there. Now, here's where this crazy athleticism comes in, and he is confident in his athleticism. So he's playing half field safety here. They're going to try and run a post route. This is one of the harder routes for a corner to cover. See, he's in that deep half. This is Tampa 2.
Look at his
the middle of the field is supposed to be taken away by this Mike. Okay. And they're going to run a post route on him. This dude has full confidence in his speed. He knows he's on top of this receiver. What's he going to do? He's going to say, well, I'm going to undercut this. And so he undercuts it, nearly gets the pick. If that ball was thrown in where the wide receiver could catch it, he's intercepting that ball. Okay, that is confidence in his coverage ability. This dude is got some crazy speed and ability to get it. So he's now here. You're going to see good instincts again. They're going to run this receiver on a little double motion. They're going to run him in and out, and then they're going to try and run a little play action fake here. Bring this tight end across like he's run blocking. Again, they're trying to get him to bite, and they want to hit this for the touchdown. That's what the offense wants to do here, but he doesn't bite. You can see him following the guy. It doesn't bite on the run fake. Quarterback wants to go out here, but he's all over it. All over it, takes it away. So now the quarterback's got to dump it down to the tight end here, who then only gets 2 to 3 yards. Again, another play that doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but he absolutely makes. Now, where does he get himself in trouble? Here he is, a deep safety. It's when he guesses. He's going to guess that this is going to be an out route, and they're going to run a post route or a kind of a seam route here on him. And this is where he gets himself in trouble, is he stops his hips. He's already opened up. He thinks this is going to be an outbreaker, and whoop, by.
Man, got him down the seam.
And gets him, and he gives up a touchdown.
Got him.
Okay. Now, what do I like about this, though? Later in the game, he comes back. He's playing free safety. They're going to try and run this skinny post on him. Watch his ability to flip his hips. He's going to open up his hips away from where this route's going to be thrown. He's going to open up to the outside. They're going to try and throw this inside on him. Watch him flip his hips and close on this ball. This is what I mean when I say really smooth hips. Look at him being able to flip those hips and break on the ball. Nearly forces an interception. That's the kind of stuff that Bud Clark would bring to the 49ers, is a guy that with an incredible athlete with elite athletic abilities, knows for the ball hawk, but he's a smaller safety that's going to limit his scheme role, his scheme fit. Played at a smaller school. Some of those interceptions are due to not playing great quarterbacks, but I think he's going to be there in the 4th round and could be a really, really good safety.
And this is where the Niners value the position.
Oh, sorry. Also, the other concern on him is there's real injury history. There's real injury history concern. He missed significant time in 2022, 2023, and last year.
Correct. But when he's healthy, you see what he does on the football field, and he's more right than he is wrong. I mean, these players, and they're going to gamble. They're going to trust their instincts. They're going to trust their abilities, and you can't teach that. They're going to trust their confidence. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the intangible things that you can't teach. If they make a mistake, shake it off, get back out there, go make a play. I think you'll get that more from a guy like Bud Clark. He'll get into the into an NFL program, get the right weight put on him, but to where he doesn't, lose his speed or anything, or his instincts, his confidence. I really would like to see him in the red and gold. I think that is a position that the Niners, they need more interceptions. They need more turnovers. They need more turnovers.
They've got to force turnovers. I'm going to move the show along because if we're not careful, it's going to be a 2-hour show because we still got to get to centers. Shoot. So moving on with this, we're going to get to centers. I think the 49ers, they need to find a replacement for Jake Brendel. I think 4th round is going to be a money round to get centers at value. I think there's going to be a number of guys. Now, this first guy, I don't know if he's going to be there in the 4th round. It's hard to see a consensus on him because some people have him at the highest I've seen him ranked is 55th overall, which would be, there you'd have to spend a 2nd round pick on him. Latest I've seen him is over 200 by NFL.com. Most of them have him around 80, 85 to 95. That is Jake Slaughter, center from Florida. Now, this dude has a name. He's either like he's destined in life to either be a 70s cop or an NFL center. When you have a name like Jake Slaughter, you're either a 70s cop or an NFL center. But I really like this guy. I started watching his tape before I went to the Senior Bowl because I wanted to say, well, who are going to be the centers at the Senior Bowl? Started watching some of their tape. I'm open-minded about this. Started watching him. First game I turned on was 2024 against Georgia, and I was blown away. Loved this guy's tape against Georgia in 2024. And then, so we're going to see a lot of his tape from 2024 because he played in the SEC. So he's playing against all these great defensive lines. There are guys that are there that all went in the 1st and 2nd round. And so we get to see him against 1st and 2nd round picks that we know are established talents. Guys like Walter Nolan, guys like Alfred Collins, 49ers, guys like Michael Williams, guys like Jalen Walker. We get to see him against some of these to be able to see how they handle that stuff or how he handles that stuff. So we're going to look at Jake Slaughter. And I will say his 2025 film looked very, very similar to his 2024. I watched, I think, 5 games of his 2025 film. So Jake Slaughter, smart, athletic, and tall center. He's 6'6". Ran the show for the Florida offensive line, handing out assignments in the run and pass game. He does at the college level what Jake Brendel is asked to do in the 49ers offense. That's key. All the guys we're going to look at, I needed to see, are they handing out assignments? Are they adjusting protections? That's things that Jake Brendel has to do. So that's what we got to see. He was a captain on the team and has played a lot of football against some of the best defensive lines in the game. Is a driver, not a shover. I'll explain that when we get there. It's the way he blocks, engages with his hands, but drives blocks with his legs. Excellent mobility for his height and is a phenomenal pass protector, using his length to neutralize shorter and shorter arm defensive tackles. Pad level is good for his height, but will have to work to maintain good pad level against NFL defensive tackles. Is the kind of smart player you'd love to have running the 49ers offensive line and have as an understudy behind Jake Brendel for a year. He kind of gives me Weston Richburg vibes.
I understand he would be an understudy because of being a rookie and the Niners not paying Jake Brendel but $5.50. He'll be the starter. But this is a guy that would come in and definitely be some competition at that position. And if anything happens to Jake Brendel throughout the year, you would be confident that you drafted a guy like Jake Slaughter.
Yeah, and I think he could play guard. It's not his natural position. He's not, he's not a really big, strong guy. Like he's a big guy, and we saw him at the Senior Bowl. I mean, I wouldn't talk to him. Dude is a big dude. But if you're looking at like NFL guard, he's not quite as thick as you would want for an NFL guard. But here, first thing you got to be able to do in a 49ers offense as a center, climb to the 2nd level. So we're going to see him here. This is against Ole Miss in 2024 with Mr. Walter Nolan. Can he climb to the 2nd level and pick up the linebacker? Absolutely, you can. They run right behind him. Okay, here you're going to see him on a combo block down. This is what I love, finish blocks. Okay, drive your defensive tackle into the dirt. Finish your block and plant the guy. That's a 49ers offensive lineman is what you see right there. All right, now here's going to be the star of the show. Him one-on-one versus Walter Nolan in pass protection. I asked him. We were there, Wayne. We were shivering like crazy. I went down on the field and I asked him, I said, who was the toughest matchup you ever had in college? And he said, Walter Nolan. He said, because he sounds like a trucker. He's like, man, he can beat you with power. He can beat you with speed. Hey, here's a tough guy. And so here we see him with Walter Nolan. Here's where the length from center really stands out. Watch the long arms to be able to dictate the engagement. Boom. Get into his body, dictate the engagement, absolutely stonewall Walter Nolan in pass pro. That's what you love to see. Okay, here's where I mean a driver, not a shover. He's going to come down on this combo block. Watch the hands engage, then they shorten because he's going to get his body into the other guy's body, and the legs drive the block. Yeah. He doesn't shove. When guys shove with their arms, they get over their toes, they get off balance, they get a lot of holding penalties, they get thrown to the ground a lot. But here's where you see that. Look at the leg drive on that block. That's what I love. Very technically sound in that working the driving block. Okay, now we're going to see him again against Walter Nolan. If you're the 49ers, you know Walter Nolan's there with the Cardinals, and you're going to have to face him 2 times a year. This guy, watch how long he holds up against Walter Nolan in pass protection. Here we go. 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5. Okay, Walter Nolan takes 5 seconds to get to the quarterback on that sack. If you give Brock Purdy 5 seconds with Walter Nolan facing you one-on-one versus your center, you are happy. Do you think Jake Brendel's holding up against Walter Nolan for 5 seconds? I don't think so. That's a guy I can see that can do that against somebody in my division who is a first-round pick and a premier defensive tackle from one of my division rivals. So I love that. Now, he's not a clean prospect. Here he is against Walter Nolan trying to get him in the run game. Whew. He got beat by speed quick.
Held him too at the neck.
Right, yeah. So, not everything is clean.
It's a 4th round pick, bro. Not everything's going to be clean.
Now, again, I think he probably goes in the 3rd. You may have to trade up to go get this kid. Or you're trading Mac Jones for a 2nd and a 3rd, and you're using a 3rd round pick on this kid. Okay, now I got him on a down block. Gotta remember which way. Okay, here he is. Going to see very similar to what we saw earlier. Drive. Look at the leg drive. Finish the block. I love that. Keep driving. Keep going. Okay, now he's going to have a down block here on Walter Nolan. Can you get him out of the play? Yes, you can. You can get Walter Nolan out of the play. And you can see him. He's saying something to him. Yeah, he's coming up and saying something to him. Again, this is him as a junior. Okay, so now we want to see him against Alfred Collins. He's going to block down here on Alfred Collins, 49ers guy, right? We know what Alfred Collins is as a prospect. So here you also see him. Now you can see him changing everything along the line. They changed the play. He's handing out the assignments, and he's going to go block Alfred Collins and work him out of the play, keep him out of there. Mm-hmm. There we go. We know Alfred Collins is a 2nd-round pick, and he plays for the 49ers. Here he's going to get a down block on Alfred Collins again. Now, Collins makes the play, but this is because the running back has a horrible choice on this play. He needs to stay inside. He needs to stay right down this hash, and he doesn't.
Oh, yeah, that's bad. Yeah, he went outside.
Bad cut, but he's able, I wanted to show them facing Alfred Collins. There wasn't a lot of one-on-ones here. Okay, now you're going against Jalen Walker, 1st-round pick to the Falcons from Raheem Morris, and Mykel Williams, 1st-round pick to the 49ers against Georgia. What do they like to do? They're going to bring these guys on a stunt. Georgia feasted with these 2 guys on stunts. We know what these guys can do. This speaks to film study. Watch him sort this out. He says, all right, I'm going to come over here and straight pick up Jalen Walker. You have no chance on that.
A set play.
And I asked him about this, and he said that their coach had given him a bunch of cut-ups of Georgia, and he knew he had memorized their tells. So that speaks to his film study to then translating to the field. Love that. Okay. Now we're going to see him.
Kevin Gogan was a center. Remember big old Kevin Gogan?
Let's see. So here we're going to see him in one-on-one versus in pass pro. I think he comes on this defensive tackle and he's going to absolutely plant the dude. So he's a phenomenal pass protector. Yeah, you see him in there and throws dude to the ground and plant him.
Yep.
Like, are we seeing that kind of pass pro from Jake Brendel? I don't think so.
No, man. That's the problem. That's the problem.
So there's
right there.
Jake Slaughter.
Trade one of those 4th-round picks, Wayne, and pick up this dude in the 3rd.
I'm my theory on centers, and I want Johnny to get the other clips queued up. But my theory on centers is that there's not going to be a lot of centers. I don't think there's going to be a lot of centers drafted. I don't think a lot of teams need centers.
Iowa kid. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And you got Logan Jones.
We'll get to the Iowa kid.
Okay. All right. So I think a guy may fall to the Niners in round 4. You got 4 fourth-round picks. I don't think you
I
need to
absolutely
trade
do.
up to
It's going to be one of these guys. Is going to be there. All right. So
who's next? Who's next?
We're going to an intriguing prospect. I know I'm going to get flamed in the chat on this one.
Oh,
because of why he's going to be there in the 4th round.
all right.
Okay. Next guy, Connor Liu, center from Auburn. Smart, athletic center with excellent short area movement skills, is a premier pass protector and highly lauded by his coach, who claimed after the 2024 season that he was NFL ready. Was trending as one of the top centers in the class purely off his pass protection skills. This dude is a phenomenal pass protector. And then he had an ACL tear in October against Mizzou. That sunk his season and the draft prep season. So we don't have the measurables. We don't have the 3-cone. We don't have the short shuttle. He's not going to be available week 1. But that's what makes him intriguing. Because we know they're going to redshirt whoever sits behind Jake Brendel. So you have a possibility to draft a guy who was trending really high, great movement skills, that you could stash on IR because of the ACL, like Curtis Rourke. And like they did with Curtis Rourke, and have him as an understudy to take on that role the next year without giving up a roster spot. That's what's important here. So this is an intriguing prospect because of that, because you're going to redshirt him anyway. So that's now, but you have the injury concern. That's where I feel like I'm going to get flamed in the chat. But he's a center with all the physical characteristics to be a top center and could have huge value based off the injury situation for a team not looking for a day 1 player. And we're going to start with a 2024 tape from Texas A&M because they were a good defensive line. And he didn't have as much 2025 tape because of the injury. All right. But we're going to see him. This is what speaks to him. Smart center. They're going to come with a little tech stunt here, tackle and cross. Number 5 is Shamar Stewart, if we remember him, 2nd round pick last year in the draft. You look at him just pick up this stunt with ease. Just makes it look easy. Buys their quarterback a ton of time to throw the deep ball down the field. I will say Auburn's offense drove me insane watching their offense. I'm sorry for any Auburn fans in the chat, but God, I couldn't stand watching Auburn's offense. But here you're going to see him climb to the 2nd level, pick up the linebacker, and displace. So can you go get to the 2nd level and get a guy out of the picture? There, watch him drive him out of the picture. Goodbye. That's going to spring the running back for a big time run. The quickness in the short area mobility is just crazy. Look at how fast he moves up there, meets with force and gets guys out of the way, leads to these chunk plays. You're going to see him here. They're going to come with another stunt. Watch how he picks up this stunt. Just, understands what he's looking at, climbs at the 2nd level again. Same guy. That 21 was getting wore out by him. Yeah. Now you're going to see him pick up a stunt. Okay. I have all these different notes on all these different guys. Look at this stunt. Woo! Hands the guy off, picks up that. Just seamless to hand it off, pick it up. I love that. And then block with some force. Quarterback from Auburn was driving me nuts. Here you're going to see him. You're seeing him hand out assignments. This is against Georgia, right? This is Georgia this year. You're going to see him handing out everything. We got him. You got this. All right. Now we're going to establish everything and come and pick it up. Picks up the linebacker who wasn't showing his blitz at all because he understood they were going to back this out. They're coming, and he makes sure that everybody's accounted for in pass protection. They give their quarterback a great pocket to deliver from. So he's a guy who can run the show up front, can handle the pass protections. All right. Now we're going to see same thing. They're going to come with a blitz. They're not showing this at all, and he's going to get him in it. They're trying to show they're overloading this side. So you should see him slide to the right, but does he do that? No, he knows his film study. He's going to say they're coming with a blitz off this. They're going to back these guys out here. I recognize this from film because he doesn't have the slide that way at all. Look at him. Go pick up the blitz. Got the pass protection there. That shows his film study. That shows his film prep when you have things like that. Okay, now we're going to see him climb to the 2nd level again, get up on the linebacker, and watch how long he maintains his block, and he springs his quarterback for a touchdown. He's blocking, still blocking. And And that's the guy he's
Nice.
got to get so his quarterback can go get a touchdown. If that guy can do it, you can open him up for Christian McCaffrey. Now you're going to see him slide over and pick up. I think he picks up this guy in pass protection somewhere over here. This is number 93. He's going to pick up, but you'll just see it. He slides over and picks up and has great pass pro. Nope, this is a climb to the second level. Sorry. It's the same play. My bad.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now we're going to have him. He's going to pick this guy up in one-on-one pass protection. Oh, look at that. Man. I mean, he's got a lot of boring clips in pass pro because dude just doesn't lose.
No,
look at him here. You're going to see him take this guy on. This is just solid.
Yeah, eating him up. He's ate up.
Yeah.
He toe up from the flow up.
Now you're going to see the same thing. This guy's going to try and beat him with quickness, and he's just going to neutralize him, keep him over there. Great pass pro. Strength. Really nice feet. Really nice feet in pass protection. So this is Connor Lew. A lot of things to be interested about with Connor Lew. What am I trying to do? I'm trying to stop my screen at the same time, but it's not showing up anymore.
Trying to walk and talk at the same time.
I am. I can't do
it. Don, help.
So how do you feel about Connor Lew, Wayne?
I think the only reason why he drops is due to that injury. The Niners, I don't think it would be a gamble using one of those 4th round picks. We've used the 2nd round pick on a redshirt guy before. So the Niners are in position. There's going to be a player or two that they're going to be able to redshirt. That's how they addressed this offseason. I felt like they attacked their offense and defense with special players that come in that can fit, that can go right now. And then they're going to draft some players that don't have to start right away, whether it's in rounds 2, whether it's in rounds 4. So I think Connor Lew would be a nice piece for the Niners. My favorite center though is this kid out of Iowa. So
we'll have him last.
Yeah. I'm curious to see
Logan Jones.
Right? So who we got next?
All right, now we got a guy who
Parker Brailsford.
Look, ever since the Cam Latu debacle, I have been down on Alabama guys because I don't want to sound like a homer. For those who don't know,
the amount of trash you talk about Alabama.
I live 70 miles from Alabama. I like Alabama. I root for Alabama. So I'm careful. I'm reticent about pushing Alabama guys.
There's 3 players from Alabama I would like on this team.
Jeremy Bernard, Proctor, and Brailsford.
There you go. Give me athleticism. You're going to talk about his size. I can give 2 clears. This kid can move. All right, go.
I will say when I turned on his tape, I fell in love with this kid. I absolutely fell in love. Okay. So Parker Brailsford, incredible athlete with insane speed for an offensive lineman, would be hand in glove fit in a Shanahan movement-based offensive line scheme that requires speed and quickness. Played a ton of football with 47 starts. He started at Washington and he was so good there. DeBoer brought him with him when he went to Alabama. He was a permanent captain last year and will be a fantastic scheme add with value. Is undersized at 6'2" and 290 pounds, which is why he'll be there in the 4th round. He's got Jake Brendel's size with slightly longer arms. Smart player who plays with an edge, great movement to the 2nd level. Smart player who rarely gets surprised and plays with strong technique. Smaller stature shows up when he loses early and panics by grabbing. That led to 17 holding penalties in college. So that's where that shorter stature, I will say, he's got 32-inch arms, short arms for an offensive lineman. Jake Brendel has 31.5-inch arms. So he's got arms that are already a half-inch longer than Jake Brendel. So that's not a deal breaker for them. Okay, what stands out? Watch him hand out assignments. Now you can see he is a small framed dude. Like when he's there, he's not a big frame. But you can see him. He's handing out assignments. He's dictating where things are going to be. Now the quarterback changes the play. So now he's got to hand out new assignments. And you can see him doing
Simpson too.
Okay, now he's handing out. Make sure they've got this guy accounted for and this guy accounted for. All right. Now you're going to see him then hand out all these assignments. And what Georgia's going to end up doing is they're coming with a cross dog blitz. So they're coming with all these crosses. And I'm sorry, Cayman's Island, you're a Georgia fan. Avert thine eyes because he picks up this cross dog blitz with ease.
Gosh.
Wow.
My
like
goodness.
That play.
Wow.
Like they just drew it up. just like that.
And
When I say
liked
smart center,
yeah, and I liked how Simpson decided to step up in the pocket. Like he didn't wait. Like, you know what I mean? He
that
saw
Brock
the
Purdy's
pressure.
going to do that, right?
Exact perfect fit.
Yeah.
All right. So now when we say athletic guys, you don't see a lot of centers in college
Pull.
pulling. You don't
No.
see a lot of
Little
centers
Kelsey.
in the
Little
NFL.
Kelsey action.
So when I say like Jake Slaughter gives me kind of Weston Richburg vibes, Connor Liu gives me kind of Alex Mack vibes. Brailsford gives me Jason Kelsey vibes. He's
Yeah.
that smaller frame guy, but really high quickness, high
Cerebral.
IQ,
Yeah.
able to pull. This looks like Jason Kelsey getting out here and pulling.
Woo!
He missed him,
Get out
but
there and
he
move.
created
Yeah.
the space.
Well,
like
that's the thing. The running back should have cut it up inside.
Oh,
but he was getting
100%.
chased down by the guy on the backside. So,
100%.
if that running back makes a right cut, we're not sitting there saying, well, he missed the guy. We're saying that's pretty amazing. All right. So now you're going to see him get to the second level and pick up this linebacker. Look how quickly he climbs to the second level. Boom, combo. Then, the jump cut to go pick that guy up.
Dart.
I love it. All right. Now we're going to see he's going to get out on a screenplay. Watch him on this. This guy, I think he meets number 9, is not happy with life after this.
Nice
Watch
cut.
him get out. Here he is. Here he is running.
Boom.
Oh,
that's not
double
even a
Nike.
Double
Nike.
I'm going to knock you out.
Both Nikes up in the air. Has to deal with. Okay, now we're going to see him again. They're going to change the play. Watch him have to hand out these assignments. They've shifted the line over. He's given out assignments. Now they change the play. He's got to deal with it again. Communicate it across. Know where things are going. Look at him. Pick up the blitz. They have the perfect pass protection versus this. He's understanding. He's got this guy. Running back's got that guy. This is phenomenal blitz protection.
Good play.
Get your quarterback with time. Now you're going to see him one-on-one in pass pro against a nose tackle. Can he hold up? He does get walked back sometimes, but overall, I think he anchors better than Jake Brendel because he's got better pad level. So he's able to anchor against the bull rush from the nose tackle. Oh, don't worry. We still got more film on this guy. All right, now we're going to see him take on the nose tackle. Watch the way he drives and is going to block through the whistle. I have a type, so do the 49ers do with offensive linemen. Oh, get him on the ground.
Wow.
I say this kid blocks with an edge. All right. We're going to see him pick up the linebacker, number 3. He's going to climb on this. I think this is a screen pass is what they end up running. Yeah, it's a little screen pass here. Look him get out, get the linebacker. Block. Put his dude in the dirt. That's what makes me excited. That gets me excited for an offensive lineman. And some of his best clips are yet to come. All right, you're going to see him again. He's going to get out on this screen pass. This is the same play from the end zone. You're going to see him get on the linebacker. This is against Georgia. This is a great game. Georgia was number 3 in the nation at this point. So this is against a good team. Oh, look at him bury the linebacker. I love it. All right, now you're going to see him climb to the. He's going to get a 2-for-1. He's going to come up here and block one guy, then block another guy. The speed to climb. Here he is. There. Gets the first one. Oh, wait, nope. That was just climb to the second level. I got so many notes here. Now he's going to block 94 and he puts him in the dirt. He put this guy in the dirt several times. Oh, love it. Okay, now he's going to get the 2-for-1. Okay. So going to climb to the second level. Here's the first guy. Block him. Nope. I got these notes here. So there's a 2-for-1. He got 2 guys in one. Here you're going to see him pull. Get out here and pull. Look at the speed to get out here, run and pull. This looks like the old 49ers of the 80s. Gets a 2-for-1 and plants his guy. This reminds you of Jesse Sapolu, right? Similar size.
That would be my comp. That is the comp. With a little bit more speed. That's the comp.
Here he is. This is Bill Walsh. This is Bill Walsh in the 90s, right? This is or Bill Walsh in the 80s. Get that guy out there. Run. There he gets the first block, then the second block, and then he dirts the
pancakes.
guy. Oh my gosh. I love this kid. All right. So now this is scheme fit. When I say scheme fit, this is what the 49ers will ask him to do. He's got a reach block on this 3 technique. That means he's got to cross this guy's face, get over there, cross his face, then flip his hips, seal this guy off. This is a 49ers scheme. When I say scheme fit, watch this reach block to get over there, make it, flip the hips, seal the guy
get the
off.
hole, get the penalty.
Yeah. That is a 49ers offensive lineman. Now, when he pass blocks, he doesn't just pass block. He meets it with physicality. Watch, they're going to run a stunt on here. Watch the physicality he brings to end this stunt. Bang! Oh, I love this. When I say I fell in love with this kid, I fell in love with this kid's film.
Yeah, man. Look, just looking at my notes on Parker Brailsford. I sent you a picture too on your WhatsApp, so I want you to check that out because this is crazy. Okay, this is crazy. Like when you see the picture, you're gonna be like, "Ain't no way." Now, Johnny, Adam, we have not had this conversation. All they did was reach out to me, ask me to be on the show. Said we're gonna cover centers, we're gonna cover safeties. I said no problem. Yo, Johnny has talked about so far my top 3 centers, and those that have been following me on my channel know Jake Slaughter, Connor Lew, and Parker Brailsford are my top 3 centers for the 49ers. He's lightning fast, first step, and elite second level reach. What did Johnny just talk about? Second level reach, getting to the linebackers, high IQ line calls. You just watched it several times, and then he's versatile because I think he can play a little bit of guard if you need him, even though he'll be small, but I think he can move a little bit on the offensive line. This kid would be a problem. I think he would be a perfect fit for the Shanahan's offense. I know we went undersized before. You still have our undersized guy right now from Michigan, but they're different. They're totally different players. This guy will come in. Yeah, and come in and be able to play right.
Or Drake Nugent, sorry.
Drake Nugent. Nugent. He'll be able to come in and play right now. Ted Nugent is a name, though.
That's the old rocker.
Gotcha.
But anyways, yeah, I love. So Brailsford's going to be there because he won't fit everybody's scheme. Like Mike McCarthy's not drafting him. No, he doesn't fit what they want to do. Sean McVay, with all their duo that they've been running with Kyron Williams, he's not that vertical mover, kind of mauler guy. Like he's not going to a Sean McVay style offense. He's not going to a Mike McCarthy style offense. He's not going to.
Maybe
I don't even. LaFleur has even gone more of that duo stuff with with what's their butt is the back now. Sean Payton in Denver, he's not drafting this kind of guy. Like that's not his kind of a lineman. So this limits the teams that are going to be interested in him. He's not going to be a Mike Vrabel center. So this limits the teams that are interested in him. So that's why he's going to be there in the 4th round. He's a very scheme specific guy, but in a Shanahan scheme, I'm talking like lab made for a Shanahan center. Now people are I know the pushback is going to be, Seattle's defensive line, we're mauling our guys. I didn't see center as the biggest problem against the Seahawks. I didn't. Like, as much as most people don't. I'm not the highest Jake Brendel fan. I made that very clear. It was much more left guard and right guard.
Right guard. Mm-hmm.
Right. So, and I've talked about last week. I had a bunch of guards on that I think are going to work really well. I'd love to have Keelan Rutledge play left guard. That dude, my Lord, I loved his tape. I would love to have Jennings Dunker playing there.
I just like the way he talked at the Senior Bowl. His words sold me. I was like, oh, you're a Niner. Yeah. We just need
the whole vibe is there. Okay. So we'll close this out with the last guy. Now I don't have as many clips on it because I showed they were involved in some of the clips I did last week because I talked about Bo Stevens and I talked about Jennings Dunker. And so we're talking about the same offensive line. That Iowa offensive line was fantastic. So we're talking about Logan Jones, center from Iowa. Now he did win, I forget the name of the award, but it was for the top center in college.
Yeah.
So, he was highly lauded across the NCAA. And Logan Jones, center from Iowa, athletic center who anchored a fantastic Iowa offensive line, strong movement skills, more in the lateral area, not as much vertical like we saw Brailsford, will be a great scheme fit and shows the skills to play within a Shanahan scheme. Plays with an edge and blocks well in space. Gets to the second level well and drives combo blocks to create holes up front. He can get walked back by stronger defensive tackles, but in a movement-based scheme would excel. Would be a good fit in a scheme that doesn't require a lot of straight-on blocks.
Iowa offense.
All right.
Yeah.
So here we go. We're going to have Logan Jones. Now here, like I showed with Brailsford, the ability to pull and get out in space. Not many centers can do this. Look at him get out here and pull, go block. Oh, yeah. Get up in space, pull, and spring your guy for a big gain. Now you're going to see him get out here on a screen pass. This is, again, 49ers type stuff. Okay, get out here on the screen pass. Here he is. Follow him, right here. He's going to get down the field.
I missed screen game.
Oh,
I missed the
throw this
screens.
on the ground.
Yeah.
Love it. This Iowa offensive line absolutely demoralized this Wisconsin defensive front.
Yeah.
I mean, they demoralized them.
And I like Mason too. Rager out there, number 22. It's my guy, but they're gonna get bashed.
Yeah. So here now you got to see him climb to the second level and get the guy out of the play.
He's gonna take this linebacker out.
Yeah, he's another screen. This is the same screen from before.
He still takes the linebacker out, right? Like he still like I'm still
that was the
linebacker's my guy. Right.
All right. So now you're gonna see him climb to the second level. Get this out of here. Pick combo nice and then drive, then bury the dude. I mean, this Iowa offensive line, they all block like this.
Yeah.
And so that's why I really like these guys.
Give me one of these three guys, yo. Like, I'm cool. Dunker, Stevens.
There's the block. There's get him up on 0. And look at him just plant the dude. Yesterday I was going over this film with Rob. And after watching guards last week and then the guys I picked this week, he was like, you really have a type. Like, it's these guys who plant people in the dirt. And I was like, yeah, because that's also the way the 49ers want to do it. That's Trent Williams. That's George Kittle. That was what they loved about Laken Tomlinson when they had him. That's what they loved about Weston Richburg. That's what they really liked about Colton McKivitz and McGlinchey before him. Is that's the way those dudes run block. That's the old 2019 Mud Bowl against the Redskins. Ayupati wasn't the Shanahan system. We're not talking about them. We're talking about the Shanahan guys. Yeah. Like if you talk about go back 2019, that tsunami Mud Bowl game where they
was there.
Front skull with the mud in his beard, and it was a gritty game. That's a 49ers offensive line. That is an offensive line that demoralized the Packers in the NFC Championship game. Jimmy G only had to throw 9 passes.
I think Dante Pettis won that game, if I'm not mistaken.
Over them. That they were the NFC Championship game in 2019. It was like 42 to 45 something to whatever because Raheem Mostert ran for over 200 yards. That's the 49ers offensive line, right? Yeah. These are guys that are that kind of offensive lineman. They all play with an edge. They all play nasty. They block to the whistle. They put guys on the ground. They want to do it, but they're also smart guys who can move. So all these guys, man, I would love to see one of these centers with the 49ers. I think 4th round, you're going to get one of these guys. Like one of these guys is going to be there. So it's
the way it's set up. I don't see center being a high value in this draft, and so you can get a top tier center. And the fact that the Niners don't need that position right this second is key, right? Because they still have Jake Brendel. He'll play on the last year of his deal, and you'll be ready to go in year 2 with this guy. And whoever it is, one of those 4, you know what I mean? I if I had to throw a 5th in there, and I know you didn't do any film on him, I do like Pat Coogan out of Indiana. I think Sam Hecht, I don't know if he fits the scheme as well as the other guys.
Yeah, not as much of a scheme fit, because I know people are wondering why I didn't do some of the other guys, like Trey June from Texas A&M.
Yeah.
The reason
I like him because of his versatility, but
the reason I didn't pick Zune was because he's 25 and a half now.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so he's an older guy, and I don't mind that as much on defensive ends. Like I was a big fan of Byron Young coming out years ago. I remember I talked about him. I was okay with the 49ers spending a 3rd round pick on him, and people were like, "Well, he's too young. He doesn't have that runway." I'm like, dude's developed. He's a grown man, and like he could come in and be a grown man. The problem with Zune is you're going to redshirt him. Whoever you pick at center is going to get redshirted. So do you really want your center taking over and a guy that's already 26 and a half and you have such a short runway? I don't think so. You like Connor Lew is a young guy, so you can redshirt him. He's going to heal faster. I think you have a great option there. I love Parker Brailsford. I think he's somebody that you could give him a year to develop in an NFL weight program, and he could probably add on 5 to 7 pounds, still be really fast, but gains a little bit of functional strength, a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I think Logan Jones is somebody you can come in who needs some technical development, and you can refine that. June just to me was somebody who is like, I don't see that runway there because of the age, so that's why I didn't include him.
That makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, like the age can play. It could be good and bad. right? It could be that you have experience, a guy that's grown that can take on other grown men.
Yeah.
With the strength. You know what I'm saying? I think the thing that was selling me on Zoom though was his versatility. I mean, he
Yeah.
didn't take snaps.
He's a
until
great pass protector.
Great pass protector. I mean, you're gonna get that mean guy too up front, right? Could play guard, play center, could play tackle too. Like that. That's what he did throughout his career. So it'll be interesting to see. Wouldn't be surprised if that's a guy that they look into. But as far as centers, you got him. You hit the nail on the head, dog. One of these four guys you mentioned has to be a Niner. This is the year. This is the year you can draft the center.
Love it.
Yeah, I feel more confident like in my draft projections this year as far as for the 49ers, because I don't do like John does. John is a phenomenal job and he covers every prospect and he's got detailed stuff. For me, I try and reverse engineer what do I think the 49ers are going to do in each round, or at least in the top number of picks. And because the 49ers always zig when everybody thinks they're going to, it's never consensus boards. Yeah. So I always, that's how I came around to calling the Mykel Williams pick last year. I called the shot before the day before the draft. I said, it's going to be Mykel Williams because I saw the need for an edge run defender and he was the premier edge run defender. And so like, I'm taking that same approach this year. I'm going, okay, it makes sense. The last time they knew they were going to need a starting guard, they picked Aaron Banks in the second round. Mm-hmm. That's where their value is on those guys. I really feel like it's going to be wide receiver because the value that we talked about earlier, it's going to be guard in the second round. And then when you get to that fourth round, because they don't have a third round pick, you got 4 fourth round picks that you're going to end up seeing center, speed rusher, some sort of speed rusher, safety, because they need to add a fourth safety. And then that fourth guy might be it. That's up in the air. It probably will be defensive tackle because they had 2 walk out the door and they only brought 1 in. It's probably going to be defensive tackle. I could see running back. They love to draft running backs every year. It could be another wide receiver. They could be a tight end. I would love for them to go get Sam Roush. I would love for them to get Jack Andrews. I would love for them to get Trigg. Like Trigg might be the best receiver out of those groups. Like I'm telling you, that one-handed catch he made against Kansas State was just insane. It was literally he was running a go route down the left sideline.
Was that on Payne?
On a rope?
Just curious.
No, it wasn't on Payne. It was on another dude. But he just like literally reached out there and plucked it with one hand.
He's a phenomenal pass catcher. Yeah.
But yeah,
you'll lose run blocking, but he's phenomenal. He's a red zone target. That's how I look at it.
So here's something that I've picked up over the last 90 minutes is that we need to have Wayne a little bit more often on the show than like freaking every 6 months or whatever it's been, dude. Like Wayne,
I wouldn't mind, man. Listen, I love to show up and just sit back, relax, talk 49er football with great people.
When we haven't talked in so long, it's like we start talking about stuff that it's like, we haven't had a chance to catch up on that.
Yeah, we pick up where we leave off.
We need to catch up more. That way,
makes sense.
So let's definitely hook
to be
that
fair,
up.
though. To be fair, you guys have been. I have gone through a lot of personal stuff. Changes, but I'm coming around. So when the season comes, let's kick off something. Let's do something. Let's do something consistent.
Yep, love it. Love to have it. Again, Johnny, throw the credentials in the chat one last time, if you wouldn't mind, for our brother Wayne Breezie. Follow him wherever you get your social media. The YouTube, of course. Big on Instagram. I'm in your little Instagram feed where you send like polls and stuff like that. I don't always participate.
No problem.
I do, every here and there.
I will say you got to follow Wayne on X because I'm down still. I still can't get into my freaking account. It is driving me nuts. Like,
I just want to know who did you let into your who did you click on? Like
I'm not saying it.
No, you got to tell people.
So it was. What it was,
God forbid I click on them.
I got a direct message from somebody who was like, "Hey, I'm in a running for a podcast thing," and I thought it was real. It's the same one that my account's been sending out, and it was the stupid thing was somebody I don't even like.
Gotcha. I understand. You don't have to say
that. And I'm trying not to have beef with.
Yeah, I get it.
He's a 49ers guy, and I was like, you know what?
You click
I don't like this guy, but
See, from my personal
I was trying to do it
experience.
as like a bury the hatchet kind of a thing.
Yeah, I totally get it. You don't got to explain
And
it.
I should have known better.
It's okay.
And so I'm locked out of my account now. The person changed the email. They changed the password. I've been going through the stupid automated system through X. I have sent them copies
Like
of every
can talk to,
invoice
right?
and receipt that I have got that they will
That
allow me
only
to
could be
send, because they
you.
only
Yeah.
allow me to send 5. And I'm like, I have every single receipt off this stupid.
I'm so sorry, bro.
So if you can't follow anybody, like I wanted to post clips. I'm sitting there watching film, and I'm like, I love Parker Brailsford. I want to post on X about it, post some clips, and I can't. It's driving me insane.
Yeah, for those that are out there doing that, you suck.
You suck.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've been there, and I don't click on anything. So my PTSD just says no. Like, don't no.
Flashbacks.
So if you sent me something, I'm calling you up. Hey, bro, this
Did
you?
you send me?
And that's how I found out, was because I was actually in the middle of a show with Rob Sats Guerrera, and it was Jason Aponte started commenting in the chat. He's like, "Hey, bro, your ex's account has been hacked," and I'm in the middle of a show. He's like, "You need to change your password." I'm like, "Dadgummit."
Yeah.
And so I like tried to log in, and it was already locked out by that point.
Dang, because you were
Yeah.
Sucks.
Well, hey.
But what's wild is this broadcast is being broadcast on my X right now because my accounts are still linked. And so I can go live on this, but I can't actually post. And I've actually sent them screenshots of this, of how my accounts are still linked. I'm like, I'm the only one who could have done this.
Yeah.
And they're
gonna
like,
need
we can't
Elon
verify
Musk to
that
get
you're
this
the
right,
account
yeah.
holder.
Gosh, come on, Elon.
Come on, Elon. Dang.
Get it together. Well, thanks for hanging out, Wayne. Thanks for hanging out, Faithful. Remember, we come to you every Monday and Friday if we can, but when we can't, you got to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do go live, when we do bring in great guests like a Wayne Breezie. Again, salute to you, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Good luck to your Celtics until they face the Warriors.
We need the rematch. It just needs to be a rematch.
So
y'all
we'll
won't
see
win
what
this
happens.
shit this time, but
Yeah,
it needs to
yeah,
be a rematch.
Yeah,
You guys,
I'm in for that.
I would love to see Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis go against their old team.
Yeah, how funny is that? That's a
That'd be
little funny.
crazy.
All right, so we are faithful to the Bay. We find a way. Thank you again for hanging out. In the meantime, in between time, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, go Niners.